Hey everyone, welcome to Gamer Thoughts, the show where I talk about just kind of what's been jumbling in my head this week when it comes to gaming. We're about a month after Elden Ring released, and I'm seeing a lot of articles where people are saying, oh, it's really hard to say goodbye to Elden Ring, or oh, I'm really sad that I'm not going to be able to play this game forever. And I keep seeing this sentiment pop up about why people love Elden Ring so much, and there's one in particular that I've seen several times that really got me thinking and really puzzled me as people were talking about it. And that was the sentiment that Elden Ring is the best game in a long time because it's the first game in a long time that was released without a bunch of microtransactions in a complete state that didn't need a bunch of DLC to make it good or have a bunch of random pre-order bonuses. And I've seen this sentiment pop up with a lot of big streamers. I've seen it pop up in reviews, and I've just seen people really trying to nail this point home that like Elden Ring is the first game in years that doesn't have any of those things. And every time I heard this, I just kind of scratched my head and I was like, well, that's objectively not true. Um, and I even went through and I made a quick list of all the games in the last 3 years alone that have been released. And these were just the ones on the top of my head. I've got them here on the screen. You'll see titles like Horizon Forbidden West, Ratchet and Clank, Kena Bridge of Spirits, Metroid Dread, Pokemon Arceus, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima. And all of these were a lot of these were massive titles, big open world games, hundreds of hours to explore. And before you say that they weren't good, most of them were Game of the Year contenders, if not winners, as well as there were some indie Game of the Years in those lists. And I thought about this, and I'm like, why are all these just getting ignored? And then there was a moment that it hit me, and I realized all of these games, at least upon release, were console exclusives. Most of them were either PlayStation or Nintendo exclusives, and were locked down in that realm. And then I looked back at the major releases in the last couple years of PC, and you get games like Lost Ark, New World, Valorant, Apex, all these games that are absolutely riddled with microtransactions, riddled with, oh, you have to pay extra money if you want the full experience of the game, and just covered in all these roadblocks to having fun with it and just being able to play it as the developer would have wanted to release a full game. And it led me to the question, are PC gamers getting left out? Which is kind of my thought process for the day. I know that, you know, there's always been this meme that PC is the master race and they have access to everything. But realistically, with a lot of the new AAA full game releases, they're locked out. They're told they need to go buy a console when they've already spent thousands of dollars on their PC. I've personally never been super worried about console exclusives because I own the consoles. I've actually been more locked out of the cute little indie games that come out on PC that I've always wanted to play. However, when it comes to AAA releases, I definitely feel there's a huge gap. The console players are definitely preferred. I think there's a few reasons for this. I think, when you develop for console, it's one, really easy to optimize your game. We saw that with games like Elden Ring, where on console it ran really well, but upon initial release, PC players were having huge issues running the game with stuttering issues, things like that. The other thing to note is that when you have someone on console, it's a lot easier to, one, advertise the game to them because the console UI allows you to do that, but also you've just kind of got this built-in guaranteed buyer base where it's all like, if you're pushing to computer, it's kind of muddy to know what the actual numbers are of PC players. You can use things like Steam to see concurrent playership and things like that, but it's a little rough where there's multiple stores on the PC, Epic, Steam, just direct download games. Whereas on the console, it's all like, oh, we know what the store is we're dealing with. We know what our cut is. Often the studios are funding the production of these games, so it's a lot easier to make the production. And I understand why things are targeted at console gamers. However, I do feel bad for the PC gamers that are getting left out, who do feel like they're in this situation where Elden Ring is the first game and probably the last game for a long time that they're going to have this wonderful, immersive, huge world experience. And maybe I'm preaching to the choir here, the people watching this video, and they're saying, oh, well, we've wanted console exclusives to go away for a long time. But what do you think the solution is here? Does PlayStation need to open up a PC store and just start selling their games to PC? Do we need to stop making consoles and force everybody to buy a $300 or $3,000 PC just to be a gamer? How do we make it easier for PC gamers to experience all these wonderful games and not get left out? Let me know your thoughts below. And if you enjoyed this content, remember to like and subscribe. I put out a Gamer Thoughts every week, as well as tons of gaming clips and other videos that come out on the channel. But until next time, as always, much love. Thank you for being here.